quick intro to this series of videos. Back in March, we did our first live podcast where we talked about some of the most influential movies in our lives. We wanted to share some of our favorite moments from that podcast. If you want to listen to that complete podcast, the link will be in the description. And if you like what you hear, please subscribe to our channel. Now, onto the video.
What is your next most influential film to you?
Yeah, so for me, a lot of what I love right now as far as media goes, I'm a humongous anime fan. And a lot of I started off watching movies, and I remember watching just again seeing all sorts of media. I was a big Disney kid too, so I was used to like hand-drawn stuff. So I watched a lot of Disney movies. I watched it all. But when it comes from like a visual standpoint, as far as like kind of like what matched the aesthetic that I like. So I started getting a little bit older. I had seen things that were kind of cyberpunky, and I just kind of was like, okay, experimenting with where animation could go. And then, speaking of Suncoast, I ended up buying off the shelf a movie called Akira, which was a Japanese animated movie from the 80s. And I ended up buying it from Suncoast, and I ended up watching it, and it just blew me the fuck away. And as confusing as this movie is, and even still very confusing, I just watched it the other night as well. Uh, it was just visually one of the craziest things I had ever seen. Um, I had seen some anime growing up, like I'd seen some Robotech, which is known as Macross as well. I had seen this one called Unico. I also watched The Last Unicorn. I watched that was part of the Rankin Bass though, so that was the same people that made like The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. And Rankin Bass actually did Thundercats too. That's why the animation is kind of similar. But Akira was just on a whole nother level, and just rewatching it the other day too. The fact that like this entire project, the guy who did the manga, he actually wrote and directed this as well, and every single scene that you see is all hand painted. It's all done by hand. It's really it's art, but it's also craft at the same time, and it is absolutely phenomenal. Storyline, whatever. It is a convoluted mess. I think they tried to get a lot of what was going on in the manga down to like a 2-hour movie. Who knows what was going on, or maybe that was the intention, but it's kind of messy. But from visually, it's just absolutely stunning. And even rewatching it now with the original streamlined dub, which I feel is the only way to watch Akira. Um, Trivia alert: the guy who voices this dude with the pill on his back is also, I believe, the voice actor of Leonardo in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles
The
animated
live
series
act.
that
Oh,
we
the
grew up
anime?
with.
Okay.
Yes, the animated ones that we grew up with, the old school one.
Yeah.
And also, I think if you've ever played Metal Gear games, I think he was Liquid Snake too. Anyways, but I love the voice acting. It was perfectly 80s. It was great. And even now, playing through like Cyberpunk 2077, a lot of these aesthetics that I love started in kind of the cyberpunk idea of Akira. So huge for me. Started my love for anime as well, which is huge. And it's carried over to other Studio Ghibli stuff like Howl's Moving Castle and all that good stuff, and Spirited Away. So I love Akira. I will continue to rewatch it. Hopefully, I'll know what's going on in the story more and more as I continue to watch it. I feel like I picked up on a little bit more. So maybe another 10 years I'll start to understand it. But visually, though, it's really tough to top this.
No, it's stunning. I remember the first time I saw this. A few of us went to a friend's house, and he was big in anime. And this was actually the very first anime I ever saw. And
Wow.
visually, you're correct. It is stunning, and there's scenes, and I love it. But you're right. The story, I'm like, I don't know what the fuck happened. And I've watched it a couple times since then. And like you,
I
I
just watched
probably
it.
not as, probably not as much as you, but like I picked up a little bit more and more. And I'm like, oh my god, I feel like it's a Final Fantasy game. It's just so convoluted. There's so much. I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but I'm in this ride. I do enjoy it, and
I don't know
I'm
what's
not
going on,
into
but
it.
I like it.
I know I'm not into anime as much as you, but this is the one that I started watching a little bit more. And even when Blockbuster, like you said, The Howl's Moving Castle, Spirited Away, I know there's a few
Hmm.
others. Well, all those films I started watching. Um, but yeah, Akira to me is just. I'm just amazed by how great this looks. It
Hmm.
blows a lot of things still today out of the water.
Oh
And
yeah.
I agree. Like I said, if I was into anime like you, this probably would be my pick. Like I said, I remember watching this and I watched it a few times. I think I might. I know I own it. I might have to watch this again and be like, all right, let's see if I can understand the story. We'll have to like talk about this. But no, it is by far just it was well drawn, and this was also my first taking to anime. So, oh my god. But
Well,
yes, I'm with you. The story is so fucking confusing.
and that's the thing is that like if you when you rewatch a movie, I love rewatching movies. I know you do too. But there's a pressure on you when you watch a movie for the first time. And so you're watching the movie for the first time, it's played in front of you, and your mind is trying to figure out what's going on. It's trying to see if you can like figure out the plot. It's trying to see where the movie's going. It's going along for the ride. But when you rewatch something over and over and over again, it frees you up to just be like, you know what? I don't know what the story is here. I'm just going to watch this as a visual demonstration, right? Purely
Yep.
visual demonstration with some words and everything like that. I'm just going to appreciate what I'm looking at. And when I do it that way, and I did this the other day, I just had that kind of mindset, it made me feel more comfortable with like leaning more into how much I love this movie. So I think that just again, I know that we talk about how storyline is very important in some of these movies that we watch, but how movie, the overall experience and everything, visual feast, all that stuff, that also has merit too. So I think that really goes in favor of giving this movie a rewatch. Just watch, just be like, I don't know what the fuck is gonna happen. I'm just gonna watch it and go, okay, oh that's cool. Oh wow, they did that. Okay, great. And then it's done, and then it's much better. But it does even now feel a little bit like especially towards the end, it kind of does. The pacing kind of falls off a little bit, and it feels longer than I think the movie is. But still a great movie though.
It is.